All right, so thanks everyone for being here. We appreciate you joining us for this this month's Wealthy webinar, where we are going to be talking about the Traveler's Diary and how to travel to amazing exotic destinations without breaking the bank. And we are interviewing several online entrepreneurs who just recently came back from an amazing Caribbean cruise on the Allure of the Seas. And if you'd love to travel more often, but the high cost is keeping you at home, well, you definitely are in the right place. And you're going to discover how everyday people are earning expense-paid vacations to exotic locations by simply working a few hours a week using their smartphones and Facebook. So you're going to learn their favorite destinations and travel tips, what they did to earn this trip, their candid reviews from the recent Caribbean cruise, how you can earn expense-paid trips to fabulous destinations just like them, plus much more. So we've got guest speaker Tara Meiring, who is a former sewing teacher, Bob Ferguson, who was long ago a teacher in a maximum security prison, and Nadia Touch, a fitness expert and online entrepreneur. And we also have some other guests that have joined us as well. Linda Toth, as well as Patty Reese, and they are here with us now. So, all right, so thanks for being here. Let's start with you, Linda, because I think you, this is your first trip. And let's see, Tara, this was her first trip. Nadia, actually, we've got quite a few first trippers. Debbie Rupert as well. But why don't we start with you, Linda, if we could, and just share a little bit about what you liked best about this recent trip. And have you, I know you've actually traveled a fair bit before, haven't you?
Yeah, that is correct. I'm a travel agent in another business, and I love to travel. So this was a very, very great treat for me to be on, because the best thing about it is I got to see the president up close and hear his vision, and it was very inspiring. And then meeting other people and talking to them and seeing how they got into Shaklee, it was amazing. And I really enjoyed just fellowshipping with so many different people. And it's not hard to do. I mean, I was very coachable, and I just listened to my leader and did some of the things she told me to do. And I interacted with a lot of my friends and say, hey, will you be willing to support me? And they all said, sure. And I thought it was amazing that they were willing to support me. And they said, sure, we'll help you. And so it was really that simple, just asking people, talking to them, supporting you. And I made it to director, and making it to director, and was the joy of being able to make it to this trip. And it's simply just connecting. And as you connect, you help improve people's life and give them a healthier outlook. And it's just that simple. I was very, very impressed with all of Shaklee. Shaklee does things first class. And
that's awesome. And your fearless leader is here with you tonight.
Yes, it is. That's Nadia Touch. She is here.
So Nadia, maybe you could share what you liked best and what it was like for you having, I believe, because Debbie is also on your team. So you had two people with you. How exciting is that?
Well, Debbie had two people with her because we are under Debbie. So she's my mom, and Linda is my daughter.
Okay, right on.
Yes.
Well, then you share quickly, if you could. What did you like best? And then we'll move to Debbie, and let's hear what it was like for you as well, Debbie, having helping two others be able to go. So Nadia.
Oh my goodness, it's a very loaded question. So let me start with, this was my first cruise ever compared to Linda. And I was able to take my daughter. None of us in our family have been on the cruise. So it was just a joy to watch my daughter having such an excitement. She said something like, I was hyper happy. Well, me, the mom, I was hyper happy seeing her hyper happy.
Yeah.
So it was very special. And of course, to be on a trip like this and having my member Linda with me, this was my first time experience having my own team. So yeah, a lot of good things to share.
Good for you. And if you guys, you may not know this, but actually I interviewed Nadia and actually Bob and Tara several months ago, or over the months in our leadership spotlight. So you can go back into our archives to see those, and just to see a little bit about sort of their story and growth. And you can also go to their fan pages and profiles and look at their live streams to get a better insight too. They did some great streams to share a little bit about their experiences there. So Debbie, then share, if you could, what did you like best about the trip, and what was it like having your two babies with you to join you?
Well, it's always great to be on a Shaklee trip because everything is paid for pretty much. And the food was wonderful. The people were wonderful. But the absolute best thing is always having part of your team with you. It's so much more fun when you're taking your team instead of just you by yourself and maybe your upline or something. But to have Nadia and Linda both there just really expands the fun and the excitement. And we never, as a family, would do a cruise like that. That was truly an amazing cruise, and just had a great time. Shaklee's the best group to travel with, I must say. 450 of your friends. What can I say?
Wow, was there 450 there?
Yep.
There were 450 to 500. I don't know exactly.
Oh, that's awesome.
500.
And you
Wow.
meet friends, and then, you know, you're lifetime friends, and you see each other at convention and on trips, and for years and years.
And Debbie, you've been on more than, this isn't your first trip. Share with us, if you could, how many trips have you been on so far?
Gosh, I don't know. The best trip I went on was Spain.
Wow.
And I took kids, like Nadia said, and it's like our eyes just would glaze over when we'd talk about the trip because it was so wonderful and so exciting. But I've been on another cruise. I've been to some trips in Mexico, trips in the United States back when we had that. I can't remember how many, but
So more than a handful.
Pardon?
More than a handful.
Yes, and a lot of fun.
And I think it's something that's important for us to convey to people, is that these are things that some families save up for several years to be able to go to this one thing. It's like their major trip. And you, instead of spending that money on a trip like that, you'd be able to put that towards something else, education or a car or fixing up something on the house or whatever. And I think that's something that is important for people to look at, is you're still able to do these other things and yet now go on these vacations that what you said you couldn't do. And let's go to Tara, because Tara, that was one of your main points, is you would have never taken a trip like this. This was Tara's first ever cruise. Share a little bit about your thoughts.
That's exactly it, Jody, and thank you for having me on. And hey, out to my new friends on the panel. Yeah, this was definitely something that my husband and I had always dreamt about doing, and we just had never been able to pull the trigger on it. And I said, oh, there's an opportunity for this cruise coming when it was announced 2 years ago, and I was very, very excited to work hard for it. And the thing is, when you just are, sharing, our business mission to help people, then you're just helping them find their best, whether it's financially or in the health realm, or both. Then sometimes trips come along. And they're paid for. And so that was really the amazing part to me. And like Linda said, just being with the whole group of people that are like-minded and that have a mission in the same direction, and to talk to them, wisdom that just came out of a lot of people I talked to it was really overwhelming and good at the same time. And it wasn't business, but yet it was, just getting to know a whole another group of people how you wouldn't, like, if you're at convention. So
right.
Bob and Patty, I interviewed both of them here that are on the panel personally, and it was just such a joy to be able to hear a little bit about them more. So we just had a fabulous time.
So let's connect from somebody who's just watching this. They're not in this business, so they're just maybe exploring this opportunity, and they like the idea of going on cruises, but it may seem like 1,000 miles away from them. Only 2 years ago, I believe, you weren't in this business at all. Am I right? Was it was just too short?
Yes, I joined Shackley as a business in July of 16. So I'm just coming upon my third year, starting my third year in July. So it can be done. It very much can be done. And there are processes like Jody has here with your Freedom Project and others that we use and implement with master coordinators and trainings that have been so helpful and beneficial to the growth of business.
And now you were even close. It wasn't a sure thing that you were going to go on the trip. You had some shaky moments, and yet you made it.
Oh. Yes, and it just God brought these people like out of the woodwork that they needed something. They needed what I was, what I had mentioned maybe last week or even a month ago or so prior to it, and it was just amazing how that all just came together, and it's just a blessing to be able to do that because when I'm cooking and cleaning and running the kids and all these things and be able to fit these conversations in with people and knowing that makes an impact on their life is been the best part.
That's awesome. And Patty, you've traveled before, but this trip wasn't a sure thing for you either, but you decided to go for it, didn't you? And same with Bob. Bob, right before Christmas almost didn't have it, but he picked it up and made it a go. Patty, share what you like best about the trip and just maybe kind of your story of how you actually made it happen.
Well, this trip was amazing. I had never been on a cruise. My husband and I had thought about it, and we just never pulled the trigger and went on a cruise. We do travel a lot, but when Roger announced at Global last year, I call it the second chance for those of us that didn't think that it was possible for us at that point to go. I turned to my husband, I said, I can do that. So I got busy and sponsored my people and got my volume up there. And I gotta say, I sent on my last order at 11:59 on New Year's Eve. I was texting people on New Year's Eve. I had a couple of people that said they were, wanting to come in and do it, but I had been on vacation and we got home on New Year's Eve.
Wow.
And I had spotty internet on the road, and so I said, I know it's late, but can we get this done? And they were so accommodating because they were waiting for me to call. It's just I didn't have internet out in Utah coming home on New Year's Eve. So I was probably the last person to send an order in and get the qualifications done. So that made it so special. But I got to tell you, the cruise was great and the excursions were great, but the Shackley people, being able to connect, and you've heard this and heard this and heard this, being able to connect intimately with not just home office, but other sales leaders. And I've been in Shackley a long time. And this was absolutely the best experience in all the years I've been in Shackley. It was absolutely amazing. And I'm going to be in Costa Rica.
That's fantastic. And if we could, for those that do love to travel, but they've never been on a cruise before, some people, have sort of food cruises and, they don't want to be stuck on a ship or whatever. What would you say? Would you recommend, for one, the allure of the seas as a ship to go on? And if so, why? Why a cruise?
Well, you don't even know you're on a ship. You think you're in some resort somewhere with 17 stories. You can learn to scuba dive on the ship. You can zip line, you can rock climb, you can waterboard, or you can just do everything. The entertainment is out of this world. You can't go to New York and get better entertainment. Just all night long or all day long, there's always something to do. You don't really even have to get off the ship if you didn't want to.
That's awesome. So let's go to you, Bob. Share with everyone, if you could. I mean, you've been on more trips than I can put on both hands a couple times. which, you know, for somebody again who, if travel is really your big, one of your kind of your bucket lists or one of your big dreams, then this company, it's important for people to know this, that this company can help you have that if that's a big thing for you. So share, if you could, a little bit about some of that experience and what you liked best about this trip, Bob.
Sure, Jody. Well, this trip was really memorable. As Patty said, it was extraordinary. There were 6,000 people, I believe, on the ship.
That many.
And you could go up in the 8th deck and you're in Central Park, you know, with the birds singing in the trees, and it was extraordinary. You know, cruise ships, you know, prior to this, you know, my ideal vacation is hiking in the mountains and that kind of thing. But
right.
I have to, after this experience on that ship, I'm a believer. And I think this was the 7th or 8th Shaklee cruise that we've been on, and I just thought I'd just kind of do it on my fingers. I think we've probably over the years been on 40 Shaklee trips, because many years we would do 2 of them. We do the regular trip and the President's Club. We were on the time when Shaklee rented the entire old town of Monte Carlo. They rented the whole thing. And so we had dinner at the Hofbrau Palace, and yeah, my kids growing up thought that international travel meant that at one point someone sent you a big wad of tickets and all kinds of fun stuff, and you went to some exotic place in the world, you didn't pay anything. So it's been part of our family, really. I think my mom went on her first trip in 1974, and she qualified me into a trip in 75 before I ever joined the business. We went to Acapulco. And that's when I started to really think about, okay, what is this thing about Shaklee? It took me another 2 years to get into the position where I really wanted to jump in. So yeah, it's been an incredible experience, but it's easy, I think, thinking from the perspective of people listening to this who may be either new to Shaklee or not in Shaklee at all. It might be tempting to say, well, the big guys, the big girls, or the big people get in. Right. I'll tell you a little story. I was at the table with the Senior Vice President of Sales, Kevin Crandall, and his wife, and a bunch of other wonderful people. And there was this totally vivacious young lady sitting next to me, and she started to tell this story. And I let her run for a little bit, and I said, stop, camera time, live action. And so we caught it live. It turns out that she had been at the very, very, very tippy top of another well-known network marketing company. Had a tough situation happen in her life, kind of needed to just clear out and do something different. And she told a great story. She said, you know, I was thinking maybe I'll go corporate, I'll do this, I'll do that. I was really successful here, so I was successful somewhere else. And finally, she was sitting down with her friend, and her friend was the CEO of a company. Said, you know, there's got to be something somewhere where you can build a business and then get a full-time income from part-time work. She goes, darn it, I just can't leave this industry. So she picked up and found 4 companies that she thought were worthy of attention, and she contacted all 4 of them. The only person that got back to her was the Shaklee person, who happened to be at the table. So she was at the top of another company. What she told me, and what she has reiterated in a couple of presentations that I have heard from her, who said, you Shaklee folks have no idea what Shaklee does for you and how relatively easy it is to get all kinds of rewards, financial rewards, car bonuses, and trips like this. She said, I was in for like a month and a half, and I got this money, and I said, is this all I have to do? So it's really something that you don't fall, it doesn't fall out of the sky on you, but it's not a functional impossibility the way it is in a lot of companies. Really only a certain kind of person. Shaklee actually sets it up so new people can absolutely have experiences like this early in their Shaklee career. And so it's very, very encouraging for someone looking at Shaklee as a business that really is the case. It's really as good as you can imagine, only better.
Well, and there's so few opportunities where you working, at least wasn't in my case, when you working at a job, could just decide, okay, I feel like putting in some extra effort and then I will earn a trip. It just doesn't work like that. And I think it's important for people to know this isn't something that they didn't win this. It's not like their name was drawn out of a hat. They had the opportunity to just decide to do something different, put on a little bit of extra effort, and they earned it. And I think that's what's special for people to know.
And that's a crucial point, Jody, because none of us did anything special or anything out of the ordinary to earn the trip. The way Shaklee qualification set up is the very things that you would want to do to build your business, the very fundamental things of building an organization, getting the products moved out to people, introducing the opportunity to people. Those are the very things that you need to do in order to go on the trip. So it's extremely important that people understand that, and that they're not locked in. I mean, if you're a level 3, in a job, you're not going to get paid. You may do twice as good a job as the next person, but you're not going to get paid anymore, right?
Right.
This is purely a meritocracy. You get what you get out of it is what you put into it, and it's so exciting to be able to do that.
And you're full time in the business, but Nadia is part time. Nadia works as a fitness expert. Linda, you've got another job, so you're part-time. Patty, I believe you're full-time, but you also do you also do tax preparations, which then sort of takes over your life. But Tara, you're sort of full-time mom, part-time business.
Yeah.
Nadia, how do you fit all this in? I mean, for somebody who's coming in thinking, I don't know how I can add a business in my life. I'm busy, I'm a mom. If there's someone who's busy, you're busy. So just give a couple points, if you could, for someone watching that this is doable for them.
Yeah, well, enjoy the time you can with your family. They're watching me right now eating popcorn. But it's really about planning. I plan my days and I stick with my plan. And when I know what it takes to go on the trip, I really stick to that plan. And so when I come in at 2:00 p.m., that's the time I set for myself. I know I have this 2 hours or maybe even 1 hour. So my part-time is from 5 to 10 hours because I choose to. Mm-hmm. And I spend my hours. And I focus, I start with the most important thing. So not like the little follow-ups or something that is easy. Mm-hmm. The most important is actually quite challenging, as not as easy. Maybe probably to invite a person to take a look. Because it's uncomfortable to invite people, but it's the most important. If you do it once a day, the trip will happen.
That's fantastic. How about you, Linda? What could you share that sort of your mentality when it comes to fitting this into your life so that you were able to achieve this?
I think it's almost on the same level. I'm on the freeway for a very long time because I live in one state and work in another state. So even on the way home, I'm on the phone because, you have hand-free phones in your car. So you push numbers and you connect with your team, you call people, and 5-10 minutes. And then once they say yes or no, then it's easy just to send them a link and set up an appointment. And so that makes it really easy and structured. And I try to keep it in the evening times to about 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours at the most, because, early to bed, early to rise, makes you happy and wise. So it's just that easy, and still having time, for your family and to do other things. So as long as you have a plan and a structure, and just take no more than 5-10 minutes, to talk to somebody and just connect and reconnect and use the tools and the repeat process. And it's that simple.
Fantastic. And Tara, maybe you could share as well, busy mom. How do you find a way to fit this in? You're doing live streams, you got your own show.
Yeah, I do something very similar to what Nadia is doing. I block my time, and all 4 of my children are in school full time. So I have fourth grader to junior ages. And so what I do is I work out in the morning, and I come home after that. And sometimes if I have to go shopping or grocery shopping, I listen to a podcast or run a webinar while I'm grocery shopping and listen to that, to whatever I need to kind of brush up on or get inspired by. And then I come home, and it's usually from 11 to 2:30 that I have a block time set that I reach out to people, do any messaging, and also you mentioned my show on Mondays at 2:00. So sometimes I touch base with Jody too.
And share, if you could, one of the things that in your show that you talked about that was meaningful to you was the wind, the warm breeze.
Oh.
Share a little bit just about sort of that feeling when you were on that trip.
It is the exact opposite of what I was in just an hour and a half ago. So it's easy. The wind in Michigan right now is brutal. I did a live on it. My last live was on the winds. It's cold. So I am missing the warm breezes. Yeah, that was the thing that really hit me, was that I just love that feeling, and that's going to stick with me. And that is going to get me to Costa Rica, is thinking about that. The warm winds are my friend. So
right on. And
I did want to mention one other thing, Jody, though, but
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
About the people in Shaklee. There was a master coordinator who set up she set up two things, and I took part in was to be aware of child sexual abuse and how to stop or know signs of that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 2-hour thing that she said, hey, I'm going to be doing this if you want to join it. We're going to meet here or there, and I was able to do that. And it was very awesome to plug into other Shaklee people's missions and their goals and things that they're sharing, and not just in the Shaklee and the products and things, but other organizations. And also she set up for us to go, when we were in Honduras, to a school for children with disabilities, and we were able to take some supplies there and meet with the children. And it was a bilingual school, which is important to me. My children are also bilingual. They are in Spanish immersion. And so that was a really neat connection there. And I felt like that was just something, I don't think that, hey, we're going on this cruise, yay, celebrate, and all this kind of toasting and stuff. But it's not, it was more of like, we're here to actually help and do some, philanthropic, can't say that.
Philanthropic, yeah.
Yes, thank you. I've been in the cold too long. Work, and just to be able to reach out and to meet the people of the places that we went. And so that was something that was really amazing to me too. So good people.
That's awesome. I'm glad you shared that. Thank you for bringing that point up. I wanted to swing back to Linda for a quick minute, because Linda, being that you've got another business in travel, maybe you could just give some perspective on how unique traveling with Shaklee as your supplier is comparison to other travel you've experienced. Again, just highlight that point one more time.
Yeah, that's why I was saying traveling with Shaklee is like first class. There's nothing short that they don't do to instill with you how the products are using. And it was fantastic that anybody who works out or wants to work out or have a morning ritual, you always could go to the Shaklee Shake Bar and have a morning shake to get you going every morning, which was totally awesome. And you got to have a leisure time to sit there and talk with others and meet others and share some strategies. Bob was really good about sharing strategies and things to do, which I was really happy and impressed with. And then I got to meet, other people. But the good thing about Shaklee was, okay, you got to travel and you got to see, but you also got training with it. You also got to learn things to take back with you to make your business grow. And on the other hand, just on the travel with other people and doing other things, it was more of exploring and more of learning the culture of the countries and stuff that you were in. So it's like a totally different atmosphere, but you did take home tips about traveling on both sides of it. So that helped in that sense.
Fantastic. Neil made a good point as well. And by all means, folks, go ahead and just put in your chats here, and then we're going to head into questions here in a moment. If you've got any, or fire them out at us. Neil is saying, don't forget, and this is a good point, that that everything you're doing to get on the trip is actually increasing your business and income. And I think that's important to know, that even if you, let's say you tried to go for the trip, but you didn't quite make it, you will still have increased your business and your income by doing that. So I think that's really important to know that. And maybe, Patty, if we could just hear from you one more time, and then I'm going to show, if I could, I just want to take you guys, those that are watching, to the actual page so we can just talk quickly about the next upcoming trips so that people can think of kind of where they want to move towards next. And then Bob will have you wrap it up. So Patty, if you could just share, give us sort of a day in the life. What was it like? You know, you woke up, and tell us what it was like in a day.
On the ship?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, most days I went and did some laps on deck 5. They have a running track all the way around. I think it's a quarter mile or something like that around. So to get my 2 or 3 miles in, I had to go a few laps in the morning. So that was usually, and then I would hit the smoothie station. That was really great. And we knew ahead of time that they were going to have a smoothie station, so I didn't have to pack tons and tons of Life Shake. I took all my vitamins and everything, and I took backup Life Shake, which was good because the last day they ran out. So I did that. Usually then we would go on an excursion or just go in and go shopping and visit some of the locals during the day. And the afternoon was my favorite time. We'd get back to the ship and meeting with people. I loved being at the front of the ship. There was the solarium where kids under 16 were not allowed. So it was really quiet, and we had a lot of meetings there. I met with Tara one day, and of course sometimes there would be entertainment during the day. There was just so much to do. And every night we met with our Shackley family in the main dining room. We all ate at the same time, and I loved that. One time we had Heather at our table, and Kevin Crandall, and Susie Kim, and Kristen Cunningham. We had different people at our table every night. So I think next year I'm going to snag some more masters for our tables, and so that I can even pick their brains more. It was great.
That's fantastic. I just wanted to actually get one more point from Nadia. You had your daughter there, so that's quite special. Just share with folks what that was like for you, because normally people aren't able to do that. Or if she's there, she can jump in and speak too. What was the big? Hey, there you are. So what did you think about the big trip with Mom?
It was fun.
What did you like best?
The swimming.
I saw that looks like there was slides and all kinds of things.
So she said it was
It was what, sorry?
swimming.
Right. That's great. What was it like for you, Nadia, to be able to bring her along and have your travel partner?
Yeah, well, it was, as I mentioned, double joy experience. So instead of just me by myself, I was able to take one of my family members. None of us have been on the cruise. It was just fun watching her. I was actually getting more excited by watching her being excited. And then it just, oh, wow, yes, she sees this, I got to get into the excitement of what she sees. It was really fun. It's a good bonding time. It's just a good time to get away from daily activities and just be side by side and have this emotional bonding while doing something fun together. So, and lots of food we ate together.
That's exciting. And it's important to know that you can earn enough points through your business activities where you can actually bring along another person, expense paid. So I'm going to go here and share my screen. And Bob, if you can just kind of highlight for folks why they should work towards. Now, the top achievers one is going to be, that's, more for established businesses. But I think this one is something that is quite doable for folks. Maybe you could just speak to why somebody might want to give a go for going to Costa Rica.
Sure, because Shackley gives several ways of qualifying. Don't know whether we're going to have the special way that they opened up last year, but I suspect that that might be because they want to open these trips to as many people as they possibly can. So yeah, I mean, what I would do is rather than getting into the weeds of exactly, you know, how you qualify, if you're already in Shaklee, then, and you're not sure, you know, where the information is, you can talk to your upline person. If you're a leader in Shaklee and have yet to really kind of dig into what the information is, now's the time to do that. But it's very, as everyone has pointed out, it's very, very straightforward. It's not a lottery. It's not something where a few people win it and other people don't. If you do what it takes to build the business, you automatically go on trips. And there's cycles, right? Your business goes in cycles. So you may go on a trip for a year or two, and then there may be a time where you're kind of building your base again, and then you go again. I think Tara pointed out, you know, rather than focus completely on trips, you focus on building your business. And she said, you build your business and trips come along. You build your business and cars come along. On the other hand, if travel is really, really important to you, and there's a destination you really, really want to go to, then you can always just focus, as Nadia pointed out, put your goal board up there, think about it every day, set the condition up inside of yourself that is just not acceptable not to go. And somehow that brings the energy up. It's just amazing how that works. So it really is doable.
And we did an interview so folks can go back and you can watch that. We shared some pictures of Bob's photos on the boat, so you can go look at that. We won't worry about showing that here, but we'll also have the gang here and whoever else has gone on the trip upload some of their photos into the chat in this live stream in the Explore Opportunity group. And Bob, if you could just share, you went to an island that sort of became your next bucket list item or something like that. Share quickly for that, and then we'll wrap it up.
A bucket list deal. Well, Roatan, I spent quite a bit of time a couple of years ago in Maui for a couple of years. So and I lived in Honolulu when I was in 8th grade. My father was head of the math department at the school there, visiting head of the math department. So Hawaii has been in my blood. My sister lived there for 35 years. So, you know, the island life has been in my blood.
Right.
Well, I was in the back of my mind, I said, well, maybe a house on the dry side of Haiku on Maui or something like that. Then I went to this island called Roatan. Now, years ago, it was the center of piracy. One of our tour guides said there was something like 5,000 pirates. I think you fit 5,000 pirates on the place. But the pirates of every nationality, every type and stripe. And it's a fascinating island because the different groups have come and colonized there. And one of the tour guides told us is one of the most distinct things about Roatan, it's called Roatan, R-O-A-T-A-N, is that everyone gets along. There's so many different groups. There's not one dominant group. It's just everyone is kind of there together and they're chill together. And it's such an incredible place. And it looks like, I was in Hawaii 50 years ago, more than that, 63, 64. This is like Hawaii was in the 1930s, 1940s. A little bit of development here and there, and just beautiful. They have a tremendous culture of herbal culture and bucket list. Home, Roatan, it's like way closer than Hawaii. And you know, it's 4 miles wide, 40 miles long. It's got culture. It's got
one road.
Right, what's that?
And one road.
Oh, and one road, exactly. It's like, probably like Juneau, Alaska. No one takes their keys out of their car because there's only one road. From here to there. So there's one road in the island. So yeah, I mean, I just completely fell in love, and it's definitely you know, a home at least part of the year in Roatan is now right on the bucket list.
One more, and it's just, I guess, one more benefit to say about cruising is that you're able to visit all these other little spots that you may choose to go back to separately later. So I think that's quite neat. Let's go to Tara for you to wrap it up. What would you like to share to anyone, your big tip, Tara, to anyone watching this, if they're thinking on going on a trip or joining this business, what's your thought? Because it was only a couple of years ago you were skeptical and wasn't sure, and here you are.
Well, I definitely would not have been able to have this experience without this kind of a structure of a business. And to be rewarded like I have been with my vehicle, a trip to home office, and now this dream trip, which truly was a dream for my husband and I both, because we both went. It was just unplugging. It was everything we needed it to be and wanted it to be, and we would never have had that opportunity experience. And I say, go for it. Do not let things come up to get in the way of you doing these things, because life is short. We do not know how much time we have, and I think the more you can experience makes you just more of a well-rounded person, and makes you more interesting.
Well, then let's face it, travel and financial well-being is part of a holistic wellness program, isn't it? I mean, you can be, physically healthy, but if you're freaking out because of your finances, or you're never traveling and able to kind of cool your jets, you can't be healthy in that way. So thanks so much for being here, everyone. I appreciate it. It's been very generous to give us your time. Again, everyone, reach out to whoever brought you to this event. I do have a couple final, though I guess I won't worry about the last slide. It's just a thank you slide. So thanks again, everyone, for being here. You guys, if you are watching this and you want more information, reach out to whoever invited you to this group or to watch this live stream. And well, it can definitely impact your life. So thanks, everyone, for being here. Take care. Thanks, all.
Jody,
Bye
thank you all.
Thank you.